Ooh. That doesn't look like it's giving good picture. Oh, there we go. It all comes together. Oh, yeah. All right. I have started the session. Or the stream, rather. We are live. Welcome back to Tragedy of War session 47 for the Spanish speakers. No hablo inglandos. That'll be the next short. I'll AI translate all of us to Spanish. It'll be a taco themed, Taco Tuesday themed short, probably. Yeah, by all accounts, let's get this underway. Session 47, A Tragedy of War. Kick it off with a recap of last session. It's kind of a long recap, but we'll try to get through everything. Okay. Last time on Tragedy of War. The session began with the faithful few crossing over the border into the misty and cratered lands of heritage. You've only just got there. While on this path, Vough, Khanek, and Rolland spoke with Theramak about what they should expect to see upon entering the main camp. Despite Dormar's plans to invade the main camp, Theramak explained that Maladar isn't exactly looking for a fight, so he didn't anticipate that they would be met with much resistance. He then asked Vough about his ties to heritage and how long it had been since he left. Because apparently, Maladar issued an edict that compelled all Genasi to build a great wall along the northern border between Sanctum and heritage. They were sent to something called the World Forge to complete this task, which Vough understood to be an ancient elemental forge capable of creating terrain. This forge can only be used by the most powerful and skilled Genasi. The party concluded their conversation and emerged from the mist, finding themselves atop a ridge overlooking the main camp of heritage, which was a sorry sight by comparison to other kingdoms of Rapture. Brelikk stopped before entering the camp, deciding to grab a drink within the Bad Company Tavern to think over his coming encounter with Maladar. In the meantime, Vough and Artyom joined in on the apparent festivities of the main camp. They followed the meandering crowd to a central point within the camp, happening upon an arena fashioned out of a crater. In the arena, a half-orc with a spear, known as Kerchak the Unrelenting, slew his fellow camp dwellers without mercy. Vough and Artyom spectated a number of fights. Kerchak then singled Vough out in the crowds above. The half-orcs around Vough seized him and threw him into the pit below with Kerchak. Artyom gave Vough some advice as Kerchak hurled a spear at his face. Vough reacted with his deft monk reflexes, catching the spear and throwing it back at Kerchak with more speed than it traveled with before. Michael's here. Michael. Is that you? How's Kukla's mom, Mike? Let's see here. The spear that Vough threw skewered Kerchak through the throat, and Vough was heralded as the victor. Artyom offered his approval of this outcome just before he was bumped into and accosted by a drunken half-orc. He wanted to see Artyom fight, but he refused on account of only fighting when necessary. The half-orc was none too pleased by this answer, attempting to push Artyom into the pit. After it was clear the half-orc wasn't going to leave him alone, Artyom cracked him across the jaw with his mug, breaking both in the process. Vough rejoined Artyom atop the wall, and the two of them returned to the Bad Company Tavern to regroup with the rest of the party for a drink. Within Bad Company, Theramak urged caution to Brelikk regarding his upcoming duel with Maladar, as he had felled many other challengers in his controversial reign. He encouraged Brelikk to challenge him tonight, so that he would set the duel for the next day. He also advised posing the challenge with his companions present, to avoid any kind of funny business. Artyom and Vough walked in at this point, accompanying the rest of the party, minus Theramak, to challenge Maladar at the Hall of the Fallen. At the Hall of the Fallen, the party took a walk down Heritage Memory Lane, learning about the many chiefs of the past through their statues. Notably, the statue of Chief Karad, Brelick's father, was left unconstructed. Brelikk emerged from the hall's back door with the party, stepping onto a veranda which looked out to the nighttime, cracked and cratered landscape of Heritage. Maladar was out on the veranda praying out to the landscape beyond, with his forehead pressed to the floor. When Brelick's eyes adjusted to the darkness, he saw greenery sprouting through the cracked lands in which the former chiefs were buried. The lands of Heritage were finally beginning to recover. Maladar stood from his prayer and turned to Brelikk, the first crown of Heritage atop his head. He removed the crown and moved to greet his old ally. Except Brelikk was not that ally any longer. His perspective, since he was last in Heritage, had changed. Whether it be because of the war itself or the people he met along the way, Brelick's goal had not necessarily shifted from that of Maladar's, but the way he intended to go about it had. He had come to challenge Maladar for his absentee rule, and so he did. Maladar honored his request and set the match for the next day. The session ended with the faithful few departing from their encounter with Maladar and leaving the Hall of the Fallen, setting up a small camp to rest for the day to come, and Brelikk communing for the first time in a while with Baeon, the battlefield. Activate. Still level 13. Yeah, Mike's got it. Vough is actually 20, if I remember correctly. He's gonna be that way for a while. I just didn't want Mike to die. Hope that makes sense to everyone. Yeah, monks do suck. Okay. So we left off with everyone falling asleep. Brelikk, do you feel like you would have slept soundly this night, having found favor with Baeon, or are there nerves keeping you up? Like, how does Brelikk feel, before a battle? Is he calm, or is he, Oh, okay. Yeah. And everyone else kind of takes, it's probably not the first time that most of you have camped out, just out in the open. But as there's kind of like some nighttime noises happening, like other people getting up in the night and walking around, like off in the distance, maybe like a torchlight every once in a while passing by in the distance. But yeah, no bugs. You don't hear crickets or anything like that. Not like you did in Safeguard. But you all find comfort in the night and are able to sleep soundly, for better or for worse. When the morning comes, as the light encroaches the sky, you are awoken by the sound of a deep bellow that echoes throughout the craters of heritage. And yeah, it like jolts. It's loud enough to like shake the ground beneath you that you sleep on, and kind of like thrum your chest a little bit with its resonance. And so it's kind of a rude awakening, but awake you all are nonetheless. Brelikk, you know this to be the horns of heritage that only sound during ceremony. In this case, the ceremony being your single combat match, it would appear that word of your challenge has already reached the ears of the people of heritage. Is there anything anyone wants to do before you all embark on? Maladar said the first crater is where he would be come morning time. Nice. I love that. Ally moment. This guy's an ally. Okay. And so you kind of how does it look when you give the Aewa inspiration? Do you mutter like a prayer of some kind? Mm-hmm. um, you would not. It would have in your understanding the horns mean that it's like commencing. Hmm. He's got three belts on. Oh, I see. Nice. And if you hold two of them, then it's -2. You know. Hmm. Qeynos, I believe, which was in Gale. Gale. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, I cannot wait to kill your character, Matt. Let's go. Matt, I wouldn't just make a fight that you could win. What are we talking about here? Gosh, what do you take me for? Bad luck. I give him every feature from every combat before. I'm just saying, Matt, I got a lot of good suggestions from the other players this past week on how to buff Maladar. So. Yeah, absolutely. So, any final actions from Artyom, Khanek, or Vough before leaving the site? Okay. Hmm. Yeah. They are quite simple. I love that. Okay. Um. Sure. So we'll say Brelikk leads the way out of camp, showing everyone that he's ready, and you all follow behind. Um, and as you do so, as you leave the camp, and you walk for um, like around one of the tents toward where you know to be the first crater, Brelikk, you see what looks like a line of people. Seeming like it leads from the edge of your camp further into the main camp, you know, into the direction of the first crater. As you approach this line, you note that the people at the back of the line are looking to you with anticipation. And you realize this line is actually like a hallway of people. One that has been intentionally formed for you all to walk through. And you know this, Brelikk, to be a tradition prior to single combat matches known as the Gauntlet. Seems like it takes you all the way to the first crater. You could take this path, or defy tradition and walk alongside it. This is for all players. If you'd like to follow Brelikk into the Gauntlet, you can. Otherwise, you can choose to just walk along it. Okay. That was quite loud. Wait, are my headphones high? Is that what's going on? Oh, they are. Okay. That explains a lot. Just everyone was super loud for me, so I was like turning people down and like trying to find the right volumes. Okay, there we go. We should be good now. when this song started, like the was so loud. It was like, holy shit. Okay. So you want to take you're gonna take this path and honor tradition. All right. And you you hear the horns yet again as you enter the gauntlet, as if in celebration of you. And then there's pounding of drums as you step forward down the line with your companions. The light from the gash in your chest pulses to the rhythm of the music. And the energy around you changes as you pass by the faces of half-orcs alongside you. Put him down, Kugrabran! And Brelikk, you start to feel hands like slap across your chest and back as you step forward through the gauntlet. To war! To war! One guy runs up and he like shakes you a little bit, and then he's like, ah! And he runs off. The chain catalyst! Unshackled! Unshackled! The people's anticipation of this fight is contagious, lighting the fire within you. Within all of you. Everyone receives an inspiration. And you see the end of the gauntlet. As you arrive there, Theramak is there to greet you at the end of the line. As the drums fade away. The sons and daughters of heritage await your return, Kugrabran. Lead them to war. And he clasps the back of your neck and pulls you in to place his forehead on yours. And pulls away, offers you a nod, and he kind of steps aside for you to enter the first crater. Okay. And there's no like steps down or anything. It's just kind of, just a natural slope, which looks like the barricades just in one part of the crater have been moved for you to enter. You know that generally speaking, they try to keep this site as natural as possible for tradition's sake. Within this arena, this crater, there is a very large hand scraping out of the crusted land. Make a history check for me, Brelikk. No. and and everyone else, Theramak turns to look to you all. Um, and he makes a point of this.
However this turns out, know that my blood boils for your cause. You will have my axe, if need be.
And then he gestures to the right, in which leads to the seating area, the spectators area outside of the first crater. Looks like the line ends just before the edge, and then there's these shoddy chairs and stools that are set up. It doesn't look very, well planned or not very great accommodations for spectating, but nevertheless, he gestures for you all to sit with him on the side. Brelikk. With your 23 in history, you know that this crater, no one really remembers who made it. Nor was anyone like a witness to when it was made. The hand that is sprouting out of the center is that of a giant. And it is pure stone, petrified beneath the crater. You imagine there to be a whole giant somewhere buried beneath the layers of land. The people of Heritage have dubbed this statue Amarod the Martyr, and is symbolically referred to as the first victim of the everlasting conflict. So the story goes, a giant with no concept of war, before giants felt this need to fight or die. This giant Amarod gazed up into the sky as a light flew across it. And the light became brighter and brighter as it approached him. And he raised an open hand to capture the light. And this is what remained. They did not understand war at that time, but now they do. And Amarod, the martyr, serves as a reminder of that. As you look at this statue, between the fingers, you see a form on the other side of the crater, knelt to the ground, forehead down. It would seem as though Maladar is praying before the fight. Would you also like to pray? Or are you ready? Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like last night, you feel the familiar presence of Baeon affirming your choice. Uh, could you make a religion check? It's interesting because um, ever since you stepped foot back in Heritage, you've been feeling his presence a lot more. Um, and this is in contrast to the past prayers, the many prayers that you've given throughout this journey of yours. Um, but you know that you have felt this presence before after one of your prayers, but you can't remember when or where. um, so you rise from your prayer, um, and as you stand, you realize Maladar has still not risen. Um, you note that he's taken his time. Yeah. Yeah, just looking him down. For those up in the crowd, those spectating, you would note that Brelik's kneeled sword prayer stirred some hushed whispers between the people, the spectators nearby you, just kind of echoing throughout the crater. Um, it is very quiet now with the walkout song being over. No more music. Just people waiting with bated breaths to see the outcome of this match. And for those in the stands as well, you, whether you're sitting or standing, it's very cramped. Like people have begun to file in beside you to fill in the gaps. You know, basically wherever someone can stand, someone is standing, and there are not many places to go or to sit in when Brelikk finishes his prayer. But make me perception checks, people who are spectating. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
Artyom.
Artyom knows all. He's looking for birds. All right. Khanek, you would be scanning across the ring, the top level of the ring where you're kind of standing, and some half-orcs have definitely filled in the gaps around you, and they don't seem to pay you any mind. But on the north side of the crater, there look to be 3 seats, proper seats, not just like shoddy stools and chairs that you've been given. They look almost like thrones, if you could call them that. They look very like natural, like driftwood thrones that are side by side. There's one large one. There's no one in them. They're vacant. But upon the center throne, you note a metal glint. Make an insight check. What the fuck? Yeah, so you follow the glint and you notice there's like some jagged, sharp edges and then a metal band at the bottom. It looks to be the first crown of heritage which you saw Maladar wearing the night before. Yeah, he's rested it upon the throne. Artyom, you are, ever since that, ever since that encounter with the brazen, drunk half-orc, you're kind of making sure that the guys who are next to you aren't lunatics this time around. And yeah, they seem to be pretty level-headed individuals. You note that a lot of the half-orcs in this crowd, they're not particularly imposing. And you notice that about the half-orcs within the, the crater that you went to with Vough the night before. Many of the half-orcs don't appear very physically capable. And Kerchak, the one that Vough killed by just whipping a spear at him, like, he went down easy, It was like fucking child's play. That just kind of, you get a vibe from the general crowd that people aren't, heritage isn't as strong as it once was back in your day. But as you scan across these faces, not in the front of the crowd, but a few layers back, you see an oddly shaped figure. One that is definitely not half-orc. But the strange thing about this figure is that it is very shrouded. Like a full, like a standing shadow. And the only thing you can see in this figure's form is its smile that appears to creep up its cheekbones. Bright white with jagged, sharp teeth. And it appears to be watching the fight below, or the impending fight. If you want to try wading that way, yeah. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. You're a big guy, so people kind of, they get out of your way once they see you coming. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. Brelikk. Maladar stands, slowly, rising to his stature, which isn't anything too impressive for a half-orc. In fact, he's pretty unimposing, all things considered. He appears only as physically strong as he needs to be. But he raises his axe to show he's ready. Do you raise your axe? Yes, sir. And the murmurs quiet down as they see both of you raise the axe, and you feel once again the tremors of the horns of heritage. And you step forward. This is my place, ho. Um. um. Yeah, just. Yeah, just say, with pleasure, and then just step forward, and you'll do a good job. He said it. Um. um. As you step forward, time slows down. That's what makes it funny. The people of Heritage, those who surround the crater, spectating beside your companions, they make their hatred for their chief known. Upon their faces, you see that they're just contorted with rage. There's spittle flying into the pit as they berate their coward leader. It is very clear that they wish nothing but death upon him, if only to satiate their bloodlust and desire for war. And then you see the look on Maladar's face. Since he raised his head, and now that you're close enough to see the face of a once tenacious half-orc, now weary beneath the weight of his people. A half-orc who sought to, as he said, break the vicious cycle of death and leaderless suffering. One who truly wanted you note that he wanted nothing but peace and for his people and his land, but war is the way of the world. And it is in this moment you recognize the tragedy of war. You may. Oh. There you go. So there is a map for this. But we're not there. We're almost there. Brelikk, you say this, you say what you said, and your words do reach the ears of Maladar, and he looks to you with old, tired eyes. And you see it before anyone else does. There is no fire left in them. You feel that he does not he does not intend to honor your request. In his final moments, he intends to break one final tradition. And it would seem...
Take what you are owed, Kugurabran.
And his axe slowly lowers. And people in the crowd, you can feel the energy change from, like, you know, the thirst and anticipation is completely gone, and people are now confused and bordering on outrage by what they're seeing unfold before them. Seemingly non-specific outrage. They seem upset by both contenders in this moment.
I was not long for this world, Kugurabran. But you will be everlasting.
It's only about 15 feet, I'd say. It's a small crater. Make an insight check. He doesn't think it will come to that. In his words, you detect a hint of admiration.
It was never the way, Kugurabran. I will not.
Oh, I love it. As you make this decision out of character, just for everyone else, the crowd is fuming. You see, like, rocks begin tumbling into the pit beside the contenders. Some launching and landing, hitting your armor, Brelikk, and that of Maladar's person, of which he's not wearing armor. He's just got his guns out. And
This is not where we live.
boo. And Artyom, you arrive at your individual, and Khanek, you would have split off by this point because they're in branching directions. But Artyom, you push through, and you get to the spot where it was, and it's not there. But you, towering over the individuals in the crowd, look off to where you were, and the figure is standing there. And this time you can see its eyes as well as its smile. And it appears to be looking directly at you, no longer watching the fight. You hear his voice in your head. What you know to...
The forest fire. Oh, in a land so dire. You have returned, but will be burned. No simple acquire.
And you're hearing the voice as you push through the mob of people. No one else seems to see this thing for some reason. Brelikk, you are standing before Maladar now in this... Oh. I love this narrative. Sorry, Maladar's serious. Oh, okay. This is a multi-interpretive line. As you approach him, Maladar works his jaw. And you stand over him, imposing. He's about a head shorter than you.
True strength is knowing when to withhold. It is not what we have known it to be. I know you will champion this vision.
Mm-hmm. And Maladar lifts his chin and closes his eyes. Boo! Yeah, the half-orc that Jack's playing. And the half-orc that I'm playing. Boo! You can try. Command. Hmm. And you bring it down and the blade tears through his upper shoulder and down his sternum. A deeper gash than the one you had been given, to be sure. Notably, unlike Maladar, there is, quite literally, no fire within him. And your blade, soaked in blood, is withdrawn, and Maladar remains standing for only a few more moments, and you see his lip twitches, and he falls over, back onto the edge of the crater, from where he entered, not taking a single step forward. After you do this, after you do this, fuck yeah.
This is not the battlefield!
And there's a simmering moment. A single moment of uncertainty within the crowd, as they all are like frantically looking between everyone to see who will step forward as challenger. And the half-orcs, one half-orc raises a hand axe, a frail arm holding it. This is where we live! And all of the other ones, as a bunch of half-orcs begin pouring into the first crater. Could everyone roll initiative? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, let me pull up the map now. Activate. Yeah. So I'll start the encounter. You don't have to. You see him, yes. He's still there. Yeah. I gotta move you guys to where you were. Yeah. Yep. And oh, let me boop. There we go. Okay, everyone roll initiative now. Or I'll make sure you get in the. There you go. Thanks, bro. NPCs. It seems like at this point, like any semblance of society has collapsed along with the final tradition, and the and he is, yeah. I got to drag him in. He's over by so Artyom is kind of over here at the moment. And yeah. Heritage. Bad Company. There he is. He was over by Artyom. But there he is, and then music. Actually, let's do this one. This is just the half-orc theme song at this point. Okay. Whose turn is it? Who is this guy? All right. Oh, I gotta put the other guy in. Actually, I can't. I won't put him in yet, Will, because it'll show his art, but he is over by this stool right here, where he used to be. Okay. Yep, thank you. Khanek, do you have a 20 initiative right now, or did you roll? Okay, let's just fix this real quick. 14. Okay. Maladar's dead, but you know. All right. Yeah, so this half-orc next to you, Rolland, he pays you no mind. he simply jumps over the barriers and runs straight for Brelikk. Mhm. Oh, yeah! Wow. Kind of gets between the fingers. Wow. You've you're stunned by their their charged forward toward you, and perhaps it catches you off guard momentarily. They do not seem formidable in their appearance and their technique in terms of how they're coming after you. Artyom, your turn, Artyom, and I would say you're like right here because you were moving. They look like they're jumping over, like they're in the middle of jumping over like the little skull barricade that they have. Right here. Oh. You're peering through the shoulders of the half-orcs, and you can see it face turned toward you with a sinister grin. It has not changed. You do see its face. You feel some kind of sickening aura as you draw close to this creature, this thing, and it is inciting you to commit violence. You see this face. Yeah. I have to Google that after this. And as you see it, you see almost like its form waver, kind of like a heat wave mirage, and it awaits you to draw closer. Rolland, your turn. I'll put it down now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. As Rolland that would have been so funny. Okay. I think it's pretty funny. Matt, you're up. It's a meme. It's a theme. Yeah. This is not where we live. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and... Crazy. Yeah. Alright, there are max up. Go ahead, Brelikk. Or Matt. Theramak will attack. Have Theramak make a wisdom saving throw. Wow. He would see a shimmer of a figure to his left and would probably be a little confused by what he's seeing, as it's just kind of standing there with no weapons turned away from Theramak. So whatever you want to make of that. Khanek, you're up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. You can add... You put it on? Okay. Okay, okay. Right. A crown for a king. I understood that reference. So you put it on, and you don't feel anything immediately. But you can add the first crown of heritage to your inventory. Okay. This half-orc jumps down. 3, 4, 5, 6. And he'll dash to... Or wait, no, he doesn't even need to. Because that's a dead body. We're going to move this. We're just going to move that. Yeah! Oh boy. 30 feet. Oh, wait. I gotta fix this. There we go. Yeah. I think it's just a creature. So do you want to do just the one in front of you? Okay. Makes a con save, right? Yeah. Succeeds. But he takes... Oh, no, he doesn't do anything. Yeah. Okay. And then he's going to make a second attack with disadvantage. Which one is disadvantage? Is it this one? Yep. What is... Alright, next one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. This one cannot make it, 40. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And I guess we'll just say this guy dashes, so he gets in range, and this guy will also dash to get in range. Next one. 5, 10, 15, 20 as... 1, 2. This half-orc would see Theramek begin attacking his fellow son of heritage, so he will begin seized by bloodlust, attacking another half-orc brother. 1, 2. That was supposed to be disadvantage, but whatever. Yeah, it's quite cringe. Vough, you're up. You're seeing all this transpiring. What is your take? Looks like a sword in the middle. It's hard to tell. So they're down on the bottom level, so if people tried to get out of the crater, it would be... Oh, they go over the pit. They're about, like, 20 to 15 to 20 feet over the pit. Like, toward the end of them, you know. Uh-huh. Can you make me a athletics check? Oh, yeah, do it. I guess just roll like a wisdom check. Yeah. Okay. The sword remains stuck fast in the stone below. Hui hui. Okay, this half-orc will also kind of slide down the crater and attack Theramek from below. 1, 2. Nice. Next one slides down.
You cannot remove the sacred sword of Amarad!
As he runs over after you, Vough. You either are at the top of the finger, which is about 10 feet up, so he can't really reach you. But he's gonna throw his axe at you. Okay. Shit. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20.
The sacred sword of Amarad!
Guy's getting fucked up. Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. He's just gonna throw one at you without saying anything. Mike is in disbelief. These guys are crazy. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
The sacred sword of Amarad!
Alright. The one who got hit by Theramek, it's his turn now, so he's going to make an attack, and then a disadvantage attack. Second one misses. Next one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And through the crowd, he's going to try and throw one at you, Brelikk. And it... Tink! Top of initiative. It's the one next to you, Brelikk. 1, 2... Artyom, your turn. So that is not a willing creature. Yeah. Ah! He's gonna try and slash at you with an AOP. He misses. Maybe. and you throw his body off to the side, yeah. He has not broken eye contact, like staring at you with the smile on his face painted across his cheeks. And he leans forward in anticipation to hear what you have to say. Like, turning his ear toward you.
Son. The Father of Fathers. If it were to be one.
I feel like this guy speaks in riddles. He extends his hand to you. Do you accept it? Like, outstretched like this, no. As if to take his hand. Like, outstretched, like, as if to take his hand, kind of a thing. Like, let me show you, kind of a thing. And the moment you make contact with his hand, you flash into an alternate place and time. And there's fire scorching across the land below you. As you're looking down at it, the forests of Gale igniting. And then you have almost like an out-of-body experience as you begin to view yourself. And you feel your heart beating faster and faster as you feel the fire within you grow and grow.
Don't let the fire go out.
And you arrive back in this place that you left behind. Blood spurting from Theramak's wounds. The creature, the being, is no longer there. And you are filled with an insatiable desire to harm. Could you make me a wisdom saving throw? Mm-hmm. Do you choose to use inspiration here, or are you sticking with that? Well, it's before I tell you the outcome, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Every half-orc is your enemy. That's how I'll word it. Rolland, you're up. The tree burner. Yeah. Sorry. Brelikk, like, raising his hand from the pit. Uh-huh. Jack just wants to fireball everything. Yes. Let me make him visible. Looks like you killed one over here. Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mike's just seeing people die. It's like, are you, Okay. Yeah. As you just slice through and then just explode all of these half-orcs with force damage. Master Yi. More. Okay. Brelikk, you're up. Mm-hmm. Sure. Fails. Nice. Done and done. Okay, Theramax up. Jack. Yep. Oh. Okay, Khanek, you're up. Yeah. Oh, that's a hypnotic pattern. Hmm. Uh, Make a wisdom save. Yeah. Um, Except you and Vough. Oh, right, yeah. Oh. Well, it looks like 3 of them succeeded. Oh, but there's only 4 up though. 5. So I counted the dead ones. I guess not. It says you got a... Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, wait, yes it does. You got a 10? Oh, no, you got a 7. I can see it on my screen. I see. And then you got an 8. Yeah. Yeah. Um... We'll say that this worked on all of the ones that are, or wait. We'll say this just worked on all the ones that are up. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, actually I can if I mouse over them. I didn't realize that. Yeah, but none of them... Oh, wait. Only 2 of them succeeded out of the ones that are standing. So maybe we'll just go with that. Okay. I did not know that. Today I learned. Okay. That Son of Heritage turn ends. Next one is one by Theramak. 1, 2. Nothing. He dies. We could say that Theramak gets an opportunity attack. Hand out the chess piece. He took it. Vough, you're up. Charm. It's a charm, isn't it? Yeah, as long as... I'm pretty sure... I think you can still do stuff while you're charmed, so... Let me see. You should be able to. Yeah, it just says you can't attack the charmer or the target with harmful abilities. Really? Yeah, that's fine. An action. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's this guy's turn, but he's stuck. And then this guy's turn, but he's stuck. And then this guy has a turn, actually. He's gonna... He pulls out another one. He's gonna come after you. Who could have foreseen this? He has advantage, I think. Maybe? No, he does not. Yep. No, this is good for you. Yeah. Yeah. He missed both times, so you're still stuck. One. Oh, this one hit. There you go. Artyom, you're up. And you're killing birds. Oh. He'll say those things. You don't feel as though it's doing anything. You are seeing red. No, he doesn't. I don't think that's his turn. As Artyom Rolland, your turn. You turn around, Rolland, there's just another half-orc being slaughtered by Artyom back there. It just turned. Mm-hmm. Or won't you? Oh, you're cutting these half-orcs in half as you're chop sueying through all of them. Yeah, the firstborn. Yeah. Are you using them? Oh yeah, yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. And the final, yeah, all the sons of heritage join their uh, the chief they did not choose in being dead within the first crater of heritage. Notably, there still are people on this map, like, or there's people still nearby the crater. Like, there's people who backed away when this started happening. Not like every single person in heritage is jumping into this crater right now to try and kill you. It's like a handful of them who have been incited into doing so. You know that there's still a great many people of heritage outside waiting to see the outcome of this. Um, Brelikk, it's your turn. Yeah. Yeah. And you see Thermac's turn. I'm just as I'm just assuming whatever happens here. It's gonna be over in a turn. What? You know it is a great honor to die in battle within Baeon's beliefs. Khanek, your turn. Oh. Oh, so he does attack back. Yeah, yeah. What are you polymorphing him into? Okay. Uh, that's a big gorilla. Okay. And I'll give... Yeah, I'm giving it to you. Owner. There you go. Vough. You see a big gorilla pop up over there, but you are... Can you see it happening? You see a massive gorilla appear on the far side of the crater from you. And you see Artyom holding the... You pulled the sword? Okay. Wisdom athletics check. You unsheath the sword from the cracked lands below. You can add the sword of Amarad to your inventory. Oh, the giant ape doesn't say that. Okay. It is Artyom's turn as you do not any longer see a half-orc. You see a big giant ape, and it is standing between you and any other half-orc that is potentially alive on this battlefield. So you don't see any other half-orcs. And the red filter that was over your vision falls. You guys could always make it happen anyway. But that is the end of the combat. Corpses of half-orcs now lay within the first crater. Every tradition imaginable broken. Not by necessarily your doing, but by the sequence of events that transpired. Khanek, you're still invisible. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 Yep. And as the fighting as the fighting dies down, the do does Artyom want to just continue genociding despite not being in the okay. No, yeah. Do you want to make a perception check? The fire within you, as well as that on your sword, quells, and you look around yourself, almost like unaware of what happened. But there is a big gorilla in front of you, and you have no memory of the slicing. Yeah, and Khanek is holding out the first crown of heritage to you, Brelikk. Do you take this? And what do you do with the crown? I earned it, Skylar. Me. Maladar. They're repopulating. um what did Cannon say?
A crown for a king.
I attack Brelikk. No, that's against tradition. No. Mm. Oh. Yeah, Mike, you want to hold on to it? Yeah. So you see Brelikk try to reach for it, and you keep it away from him. You see its shine. You can see your face in the shine of the blade, though. Still looks sharp. um, as you have this interaction, people begin to emerge at the side of the crater and kind of peer out over the death that has befallen them, befallen the half-orcs which stood against you. Yeah. And we'll just say the gorilla goes over here. He's low. Oh, here he goes. Who the fuck are you right now? Theramek is like, why are you feeding me? You say this to Theramek?
I'm not quite sure.
And he looks over to you, Artyom.
The forest fire seemed to have lost his head, carried away by the fire he wields.
And Rolland. Brelikk, could you make an insight check? Toilet flush. The man with horns is mentioned, and you have like a moment where you're like, man with horns, and you attempt to recall what, or conclude what it is Artyom is talking about, but you have no idea. Yep. And make an insight check to see if there's more that you can kind of divulge as you're being questioned about this. Yeah. What the fuck? you you get the feeling that when you asked like the question about fathers, uh or when you asked your question, he seemed to choose the thing that he thought would be most inciting to you, if that makes sense. Um, and like the way he said it almost makes it sound like you interpret what he said to be a lie, and that he could have said that about any kingdom. It was just to make you specifically see red. How impactful do you think that moment was for Brelikk? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I th- I think you would, um, just based on that. But you would note that whatever whatever happened to Artyom, like it didn't have that effect on you, notably. Um, but you almost got the feeling that this being was gloating in your conversation, or in when it spoke to you. So it was like after the fact of something happened. In this case, it almost seems like it was there this time in the act of it happening. Um, I would say you could probably make that conclusion, yeah. Just based on all the dead half orcs around you. Part of you feels like they might not have reacted in that way, given, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And at this point, like with Vough and Artyom having joined the party somewhat recently, um, I'm yeah. In this moment when you bring up Sanctum, you kind of give them the one sheet summary of all that's all that's happened, and the people he traveled with, and the journey that they're on in terms of the tablets specifically, and how this being, after he burned Ock's body, came to gloat and promptly disappear. It sounds similar to what happened to you just now, Artyom, but all this talk is somewhat beyond you know what I mean?
It is a great honor to be carved by the forest fire. These seared scars will adorn my back for many years until my grave. It is good for you to have returned home. We needed, well...
And then he glances out over all the dead half-orcs.
Perhaps they could have handled it themselves, but good nonetheless to have old souls returning to the fold of heritage. Perhaps we can undo what has been done to our lands.
Yeah. So the half-orcs that they backed away. Yeah, I was waiting for opening there. They've approached the edge of the crater during your conversation. And Notably, in one of the small groups that approaches, you see half-orcs, but you also see a very small amount of genasi. As you basically realize that some of them never adhered to the edict issued by Maladar, and were perhaps in hiding, for lack of a better term. And notably, a genasi with crystalline spikes coming out of his head. Earth genasi, seemingly. What folder did I put this guy in? Holy shit. Holy shit, man. Oh, there he is. Looks down from the top. Has these orange eyes. Kind of looking down to you all. The half-orcs beside, all lining around the ring of the crater. They're hesitant as they approach, but he confidently strides up and catches your attention and says, very confidently, a proclamation. Hail to the new Chief of Heritage, Brelikk Kukurabran. His name unchained. Unchained! Unchained. You know, people voicing their agreement, and then the genasi kind of steps down the what do you call it? Hang on. He steps down the crater to meet you all, but he kind of approaches you, in particular Brelikk, and says, but I must ask, do your companions lead with you? Highly irregular, I might add, but perhaps it is time for a change. Then he Mmm. Some feedback. get some get some feedback from the Seraph. Yeah. Identify. You could attune to it, yeah. Okay. Out of character, Mike. I don't have an item card ready for this, so um, I mean, I know what they are, but I don't have an item card, so um, no, I don't have one for the crown either. Next week, at the beginning of next session. I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Oh, right, Khanek came down. Yeah. We'll put Khanek over here. This is... Yeah. Yeah. Um... So, um... Uh... Oh, yeah, no, I forgot about that. Does, Rolland, do you call now, or do you confront Khanek, or... Yeah. What do you say to him? The line connects. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is good news, Rolland. Good job. Take the podunks over the northern border. March upon heritage. Safeguard marching from the south. We will pincer movement them. Kill all the dead that stand in our way.
End of message. So yeah, to reiterate, he advises, orders to take the half-orc force, whatever remains of that, over the northern border, western border of Heritage, northern from his perspective, but and basically march down to the to Forlorn, and then they're gonna march up through there. Which, if we go to the Rapture, oh, you're already there. Mm-hmm. Theramak would chime in.
How soon? Well, suppose it's as soon as you believe them to be ready. I believe if you allowed them at this moment, they would march. It is something they have desired for a very long time. But they may require a bit of guidance, which we will be more than willing to provide, of course. I believe that to be a good suggestion.
And the Genasi speaks up. I do not speak for my people, but I believe that they will be willing to follow you across this border, and they will be thrilled to hear the news of Maladar's demise. They have not yet, well, we have not yet sent word of that news. They will be, they will be helpful in equipping your soldiers with what they need to advance into the Forlorn front. He kind of turns fully toward you, and he stretches out a hand to shake yours. I am Eli. And you, new chief. And he looks over to Theramak, nods to him, and he looks to Vough for a moment before turning to leave and going back up the slope which he came from. Well, Yeah, the what Khanek was saying is actually correct. When when Sanctum was, or when Heritage was invaded by Sanctum, Heritage was in Forlorn invading them. So, which was what's his name? That was a small bit of exposition dropped by Doramar before he promptly died. Not everything he was saying was complete nonsense. He said, "Do you remember the last time uh, marching into Forlorn?" Because that was what you had told him you planned. And then it was in the middle of combat, so it's easy to miss, I say. It's also hard to march on Gale because um, you know the Genasi to be more like suppliers. The Giants did go with you last time. Once you received word of Sanctum being in Heritage, you pulled everyone pulled back, and then that's when like Monarch basically had all of the uh your people like lined up already, and it was like a moment of like either they die or you die, and yeah. So then yeah, so then the elders and your including your father were killed, and then the the innocent, the weak were allowed to live. Which at the time you were not an elder, so you were not seen as and technically you just went straight from not being an elder to being chief, so you kind of skipped a few ranks, I'd say. Um, but yeah. So out of character. A lot of dead bodies. Good for the soil. Okay. And as you make this decision, the camera pans away. And it's okay. I was gonna say it pans away, away from the first crater, away from the second crater, and all of the craters below in Heritage, and uh, until you can see the lands of Forlorn and the thousands, tens of thousands of undead that move erratically in all directions, as if the land itself were alive. A sea of corpses. And that's where we'll end it. Out of character clarification, because you have your decision, but I want you to know that the campaign has opened up a lot in this moment. If it wasn't clear as to whether you could go a certain place or not before, this is a point where you can basically take this battle to whatever kingdom you fancy. So, I just want to make that clear out of character so that people don't feel like they're funneled into doing one thing. But I do think that the thing you guys have chosen is a good one. So, I will let you guys discuss it amongst yourselves. And you do level up. You are level 14? Level 14. And Matt, with this moment in the campaign, I know at one point you were talking about a class swap. It was a while back. This was the moment I was thinking of that would be good for you to switch subclasses if you want. Because narratively, the fire that is within you is now being unleashed, and you're not really trying to hold it back, or maybe you are. I don't know. It's up to you. I just think you've taken the cork off the metaphorical bottle of heritage by killing Maladar, so you kind of taking the metaphorical cork off your energy. Energy. Choose. Ooh. Perfect. Uh-huh. Which that was the subclass. Yeah. I remember that being the subclass you were talking about back when we talked about it. Um, anyway. Yeah. Yeah, just let me know. I just wanted to remind you so that you thought about it. Cool. Oh, very nice. Okay. I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks for watching Tragedy War Session 47. We'll be back next week.